We thought, great, slow news day back in the States, we will make air. Early show, evening news, we can make people pay attention on a day like this. Paul and our sound man, James Brolin, and I were going on what we thought would be a short, safe shoot in a safe neighborhood. But for our first stop, Funkhauser wanted to talk to some Iraqis on a street where a roadside bomb had gone off the day before. He said, they know who operates in their neighborhoods. Some insurgent cell has moved in there. They'll be able to tell me who it is, where they are. So that's how we ended up outside our Humvees. Our guards were down, safe neighborhood, maybe a mile from where you all saw that statue fall down. And we're walking towards a tea stand. Someone knew we were coming. They'd left a 500-pound car bomb 10 feet from the tea stand. They were watching from an apartment block above with a remote control trigger. Waited till we were all within about 20 feet, detonated it, sending a wall of burning shrapnel through the entire patrol. Captain Funkhauser and his translator were killed instantly, so was my sound man. Paul fought to stay alive for almost an hour. It took him a long time to reach us with the emergency crews. And in the meantime, my attitude was kicking in. Now, I was lying there on the ground, didn't know what was wrong with me. I'd lost most of my blood. I had shrapnel to the brain, both eardrums were blown out, both femurs were shattered, and there was burning shrapnel studded to my legs from my hips to my ankles. Now, they say your true nature is revealed at a time like this. I immediately started first asking questions, analyzing my situation, and then a bit later, bossing my poor besieged rescuers around. I'm O positive. I have extra bandages. They're right here. Do you need them? They're in my pocket. You need them? You don't need them. Is my helmet on? If my helmet's not on, I really think you should put my helmet on because I can hear some ammunition burning off, and that's not good if it hits me. Poor guy must have been like, as he's trying to tie the tourniquets on me, must have been thinking, lady, that is the least of your problems. So, but before he even got to me, I was, as I said, asking questions. Initially, after the bomb went off, I'm lying looking at the sky going, okay, burning legs, I need to call for help. No, I can't call for help. The ABCs of triage, airway, breathing, and circulation. If you call for help, you prove to your would-be rescuers that you have an airway and breathing, you're fine. They go to the quiet people, restart their heart, clear their airway. But I was able to lift my head. I saw that there was a burning car nearby and felt the burning. I thought, that's burning me, therefore I am in immediate danger. Therefore, I am allowed to call for help. I started calling for help. Medic Izzy Flores was walking by. It's his first combat casualty scene, mass casualty scene. He's doing his evaluation. He said, yeah, I remember I walked by you and you started talking to me. I said, oh yeah, she's good. And he went on to somebody else. So sure enough, my big mouth did get me into trouble. But one of the things that it did do was that I was later told I was the last person to receive medical aid. So I know that I did not live and others die because I got help first. And that comforts me every day. The other thing they tell me is that even in my delirium, as I lost my blood and went hypoxic, it means your brain starts losing oxygen, I kept asking about my guys. Where are Paul and James? And they said, you were asking about your guys like we were asking about our battle buddies. So that was one of the reasons we were fighting so hard to keep you alive. You were like us. You cared. And when you feel guilty about about the fact that you're the one who survived, that's one thing that you take comfort in. At the worst possible time, I was thinking the right thing. Now, I'll skip the gory part in the hospital where they almost took my legs off a few times. They're here. The next battle, and I see the kind of the shuffle thing. We're getting there. Last 2 pages. So the next battle was recovery. A long, hard process, and most of it was mental. What I learned, again, you face that choice. You can respond with fear, or you can respond with hope. Now, 2 of my caregivers represented that, like the opposite poles. My mom, fear. My dad, hope. My mom obsessed every day over what would be wrong with me for the rest of my life. She also wanted the pain to stop. She had the doctors come in and do all of these like phantom tests. And then she'd tell them, but don't tell her what you're doing. And so the doctor would go like, yeah, okay, right, and wait and lock her in the room and then come back and say, all right, here are the tests we're running. So anyway, the other thing, I had to do physiotherapy. Now, because they hammered titanium rods through my legs, and I'd had a head wound, some bizarre things happen with blast injuries. Your bones overheal. My bones were overhealing with like flakes of coral-like bone that were going into my joints and fusing them. There was one way to fix this, otherwise they would fuse and I would walk like a peg leg the rest of my life. They had to pick up my legs and crank the knees and break the flakes of bone. Yes. They would have to give me extra painkiller beforehand, and it still hurt like hell. You'd scream through gritted teeth. We had to lock my mom in the waiting room behind 2 closed fire doors to allow this to take place. My dad, meanwhile, knew this had to be done, would stand next to me, hold my hand, and listen to me scream. And both of them are, you know, absolute love, just different ways of expressing it. Now, I came out the other side. I spent 3 months learning to walk again, half a year to get back to running, and I went back to that doctor in Lunchville Regional Medical Center. We were filming something. It was so much fun to walk down the hallway towards him. Hi, doc, look, walking, just fine. I came out of the other side of this with many things I never anticipated. The military used to be very suspicious when they saw me coming, especially working for CBS News, which most of them called the rather biased network. The fact that I'd risked my life again made many people look at my work again with a new eye. The fact that I'd risked my life, and you know, all reporters out there are. I looked back at my work too, and I saw the stories that I took such grief for from 2003 to 2006 were all pieces of the puzzle that became part of the success so far of the surge. You had to deal with both sides, providing people services and also providing them security. It's something we were doing only a patchwork of those first couple years. Many of the military commanders I'd worked with have now asked me back to explain both why it's important to be a critical member of the Fourth Estate. They've had me to talk to their young captains. You know, I walked into a room where everyone said to me, look, we all watch Fox, but our bosses have said we have to listen to you for an hour. Eventually, I usually win them over. The other thing they have me talk to their people about is what it's like to be injured and recover. I talk about getting out of the injured box. Now, once you're injured, everyone just remembers that you're broken. They don't remember that you're healed. They don't know how hard you fought to become whole again. They think of you as a victim, not as a survivor. Now, most young soldiers will not tell their commanders this. They won't tell their commanders where to go. I will. And that is what I frequently am asked to do. Like, look, treat your people with the dignity they deserve once they've put themselves back together. I never thought when I began this journey that I would end up doing that. But if I look back at my internal compass, I was trying to speak out for those who couldn't. And that's what I ended up doing. Now, I never banked on being in Washington, D.C. covering national security. I still want to do what I used to do, covering my other homes of Jerusalem, Baghdad, Islamabad, or Kabul. But there's a far more famous Wellesley grad who's in that same boat, in a sense, who thought she'd have a different job right now. And I, like her, am still following my internal compass and doing what I can, where I am, to speak out for those who can't and to hopefully change history for the better. When I run into a wall, I ask myself what I'm doing this for and remind myself of my particular goals. And most of all, I set out to live every day with grace, honor, and a certain degree of stubbornness, hopeful stubbornness, but stubbornness in everything I do. And believe me, whether it's in the dirt in the aftermath of a bomb scene or in a hospital room or temporarily making coffee in an office before you take the place over, well, All I can say is, if I can do it, I know all of you can. So congratulations, and good luck, and go get 'em.